So, you'll be glad to know this is the last talk about surrender. Woo! Phew. We made it, right? It was a long month, I know. It's only 4 weeks, but still. Talking about surrender is tough. I mean, it really is. It's tough. So this week is the last week we're going to talk about surrender for a while. Yay, we made it through. You know, the first week we talked about surrendering to, right? Surrendering to the greater sense of self, the greater us, the God within, surrendering to that greater idea that Spirit has for our lives. And in week 2, we discussed the idea that surrendering is not giving up, giving in, or failing. That surrender is really a very powerful step for us to take. And last week we learned about surrendering our stress. Thank you, Alan Olson. He did such a good job of allowing us to surrender our stress. And so that brings us to today, which is to the moments. And it's about surrendering to the moments. And it was taken from a quote by Anne Morrow Lindbergh, who wrote a book called Gifts from the Sea. And she said this, she said, if you surrender completely to the moments as they pass, you live more richly those moments. So does that make sense, right? If you surrender completely to the moments as they pass, you live more richly those moments. So I was reading that for a while. I read the book a while back, and I'd been taking that quote into my meditation, and there's an interesting idea in that quote, and what I got from it was she doesn't really make a reference to what kind of moments. It's a little interesting thing about that. It doesn't say what kind of moments. It doesn't say anything about, are they good moments? Are they bad moments? Are they high moments? Are they low moments? I mean, think about it. It's just about if you surrender completely to the moments as they pass. So really what it's saying for me was it's more about being present than being positive. It's more about being present than being positive. There is just so much richness in life when we are present for each moment of it, regardless of how we label those moments. You know, what I know is pain brings you right into the present moment, doesn't it? I mean, when we are in pain, wow, all of our focus is right there in the present moment. Now, we wouldn't necessarily call that a good moment. However, it is absolutely the present moment, and we are 100% in it. So there is a gift in anything. There is a gift in anything. So what we know is that pain and illness can bring us right to the present moment. Everything else around us, all the trivial stuff, all the talk in our head, all the critical, things that go on, all the words that run through our minds, all of that goes away. And we are right in the now, right in the eternal now. I remember when I was in labor with my first child, because they don't give you instruction manual for that stuff, When it's your first child, you're sort of, well, there you go, you're on your own. I mean, I took all the classes and everything, but when I was in active labor in the hospital, I remember just being focused, being really focused in that present moment. Nothing else mattered, but it was just about following the breath, the hoo, he stuff. I was doing all the breathing and really following the breath and being so conscious of the body and what the body was doing and following the waves of contractions and just following what my body was doing. And I am so in the moment and I'm so feeling it. And I remember just following the contractions within all the time. And I remember looking out the window at one point, and when a contraction was coming on, I looked down and just sort of focused in on what my body was doing, just the feeling, just the pain, just riding that pain. And the next time I looked up, it was dark outside. And 7 hours had gone by. And I just didn't realize it because I was just so at one with what my body was doing. So 7 hours had passed. And, because I was so immersed in the moment, time really becomes irrelevant. Haven't you had that experience? You're right there. You're so fully present that time is irrelevant. Time is a man-made construct, right? It's a man-made construct. And then, boy, when you're in the moment, there's nothing that tells you that it is man-made than something that keeps you right in the present moment. You know, it's like, oh, you're going to be there 7, 6, 6:30. It becomes meaningless. The present moment, the eternal now, that's really all that exists. And when we are brought into that present moment, we realize it. Time, the mechanical time, it just goes. It just goes, and we are so caught up in what we're doing that time really is that irrelevant man-made structure that is meaningless at that point. Another example is bliss, right? You know, when you fall in love and you've got that thing, you've met Mr. or Ms. Right, or right now anyway, and you stay up all night long and you're never tired and you're chatting, and then the sun comes up and you know, right? You've been there before, and time is really just irrelevant. You never get tired. You're in love. Everything, you know, you're giddy. You're in love with the world. Everything is brighter. The sun is shinier, and the flowers are smellier, and all of that stuff, right? Because you're totally in love. That's being in the eternal now, also. You know, Eckhart Tolle said this. He said, "Always say yes to the present moment. What could be more futile, more insane, than to create inner resistance to what already is? What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always now? Surrender to what is. Say yes to life, and see how life suddenly starts working for you rather than against you." It makes perfect sense, right? We just forget to do that. We forget to do that. We get caught up in the narrative that's going on inside of our head all the time. Isn't there a narrative in there right now? What's it saying, right? It's like, God, I can't wait till she shuts up and we can get on with it. Or maybe something nicer. You know, it's like, I have to go to Albertsons on the way home. And gee, you know, did I pick up my dry cleaning or do I have to pick up my dry cleaning later? And you know that voice that's just always in your head. It's pulling you out of this present moment right here and right now. That's what it does. It either has you in the past regretting things or mulling over things or re-examining things, or it has you in the future, what are you going to do after this? And what are you going to do after this? And then after lunch, and then after dinner, and then, right? What are you going to do? And what are you going to watch tonight? And oh my God, it's Game of Thrones. We can't miss it. And all of that stuff, right, is going through your head. So that little voice inside keeps us from being here now. It just keeps us from being here now. We forget. We start out being conscious. We come out of our meditation, right, saying, I'm here, yay, I'm one with everything, it's lovely. And in 5 minutes, boy, we get on the freeway, and then, you know, we're here, we're there, we're in the past, we're in the present. You know, I think that those times where we are totally focused in on what we're doing, those times when we are absolutely, totally present in our lives, in the eternal now, I think they stick out in our minds so much because we're hardly there. Because we spend so much time in the past and the future that when we have those moments of clarity, when we have those moments where we're absolutely positively anchored in the present moment, are so rare. They're so rare. Most of our days we're toddling off into the future or into the past, so that when we do have those moments of the eternal now, they stand out so much. They stand out. You know, why do we misplace our keys? Why do we misplace our keys? Because when we come into the house, we have them in our hand, we're a mile away in our heads, or 10 miles or 100 miles, or we're decades away thinking about, right? We're decades away. We're thinking about stuff that happened in the past when we were kids. We're thinking about what's going to happen after we retire. We're all over the map. And so we put the keys down. God only knows where they are. And that's true. That is a positively, absolutely true statement. Because we're thinking 10,000 other things than what we're doing. You know, you get home, you got the keys in your hand, you've picked up the mail with the other hand, maybe you have your briefcase or your laptop over your arm. You're thinking about your boss, you're thinking about the day, you're thinking about the traffic you just went through, you're thinking about the project that's due tomorrow, you're wondering what you're going to make for dinner. All of this stuff is going on. You put your keys down, and that's that, right? And then those other million other thoughts that are going through your head, you don't file that information away. And then, of course, you have to go out again. You have to go out again. Then you can't find your keys. Oh my God, what did I do with them? And then starts the inquiry, right? You start, where was I? What did I do? What was the first thing I did when I got home? Let me think. I got the mail, and you start to go back through your day. We spend an awful lot of time searching for stuff we put in places while we were thinking of other things, right? Because we're not present. We're just not present. When we are in present moment awareness, that's all there are the keys. When we are in present moment awareness, there's only the keys. There's only what's in front of us. When we are in present moment awareness, when we're washing the dishes, we're washing the dishes. And that's all we're doing. If we think about being in present moment awareness, every place we go and everything we do, then what is in front of us, that's all there is. And if you're not doing anything, then you're focused in on the breath. You can hear your heartbeat. You can know that you're thinking a thought and what that thought is. So times of bliss and times of pain snap us right into that place automatically, that present moment awareness. But we can develop that so that it's not only in times of bliss or times of pain that we're present in our own lives. We don't want to spend our life looking for stuff. You want to be in that present moment awareness because that's where our power is. We talk about the qualities of God as power and peace and love and bliss and joy and abundance and all of those qualities of God. They exist now. They exist now. They don't exist in any future time. They don't exist after you retire, I'll be happy then. Or after I find Mr. Right, I'll be happy then, or Ms. Right, or whatever. Or when I get that promotion, or when I get that house, then I'll be happy. We are only happy right here and right now. It's an inside job. The happy is in you. The happy is in us, and we need to find excuses to let it out, really. We cannot find happiness because that would indicate that it's someplace outside of ourselves, that it's apart from us, and that we need to grab hold of it, or we have to find out where it is and go get it. And the truth is, it's within us. If we were present in this present moment, we would be aware of all of those gifts are already within us. It comes from within us. We cannot find happiness because happiness is not an object, it's a state of mind. It's a consciousness. It comes from within us. It's one of those qualities of God that is part of who we are and what we are. The happiness comes from within. Now, maybe something external can be a catalyst for that, right? A beautiful sunset, a gorgeous piece of music, something can just release that sense of beauty from within us, right? Or that sense of happiness from within us, but it's already there. It's already there. We're just setting the mood to let it out. It's part of who we are. The quality of God known as beauty is within us. And then it is for us to recognize that. And we recognize it individually. If I asked everybody in this room, what's your definition of beauty, or give me an example of beauty, there'd be 100 different answers. Everybody has a different idea. That's why we're individuals. That's that unique individuality of spirit expressing as us. So we'd each come up with a different idea of what beauty is. But the feeling of beauty and allowing it to express through us and as us, that's a universal principle. That's a quality of God. So yeah, something maybe external will trigger it in us, but these are qualities that are found within all of us. So we don't have to go anywhere to get the beauty. We don't have to go anywhere to get the happiness. It's within us. And that quality enables us to feel those things regardless of conditions because they come from us. So we can be peaceful in the midst of chaos. Have you ever been peaceful in the midst of chaos? It's a practice. It's a spiritual practice. But it comes from within us, so of course we can. Nothing makes us happy. Nothing makes us peaceful. Nothing makes us united. These are feelings that come from within us. These are qualities of God that express through us and as us. in the world. So yes, being in certain situations can bring out the happy in us. Of course it can. But the happy's already there. The happy's already there. So nobody can make you happy. Just like nobody can make you angry. Oh, take responsibility for that too. Nobody makes us happy. Nobody makes us angry. It comes from within us because we cannot be dependent on external sources to be our authentic selves. Qualities of God exist within us. We allow them to come out. Those qualities are there all along. So nobody makes us happy. Nobody makes us angry. So we can't be dependent on those other people to do those things for us. Because here's the deal. What happens when that person who makes you happy leaves? What happens when they die? What happens when they don't love you anymore and leave? Then what? Then the quality of God known as happy doesn't exist in you anymore? Of course not. The happy is your happy. It exists because God exists within you. Like Emerson said, that small seed of perfection nestled within you is that spirit self of you. That has all those qualities within you. And the happy is there. Life changes all the time. Things at the level of effect change all the time. We cannot be dependent on those external things to provide our happiness or to provide our peace or to provide our power for us, because what happens when they change? And they do. They always do. Life at the physical level changes all the time, right? Nations come and go. Empires rise and fall. People are born and die. This goes on all the time at the level of the condition. And the physical world changes all around us constantly. And it reminds us that the physical world is impermanent. It is the eternal. It is the things within us that are eternal, those qualities of God. So if we're dependent on external things to make us happy, we're going to be sad people indeed. Because then you can't let anything change, right? You get it set up the way you like it, and then all of a sudden it's like, don't anybody move. You can't go, you can't move, you can't die. We get it set up just the way we want it, then nothing can change. It doesn't happen that way. The happy comes from within us. The happy is within us. It is born when we are born. It is those qualities that are within us. It is the qualities of God that we know. We can be happy for no reason. We can be content for no reason. We can be helpful for no reason. They're all within us. And surrendering to the moments means allowing that inner self to come out and play. It means allowing those qualities to express through us. Surrendering to the moments is being absolutely, perfectly okay with whatever's going on around us. Thich Nhat Hanh said in Interbeing, he said, only the present moment is real and available to us. The peace we desire is not some distant future. It is something we realize in the present moment. That's all there is. So we have to practice. Or we can allow the pain to snap us into the present moment. We can allow the bliss to snap us into the present moment and just be occasional visitors to the present moment. But really, we want to live there. We want to live in the present moment, moment by moment. See, there's one. You just missed it. Okay, wait, here it comes again. Oh, you missed it. Okay, here comes another one. We have to be present in the moment. And it's a practice for us. It is a practice for us. Because we have that voice in our head that's always taking us on, adventures in our head, not real ones, but adventures of what I should have said or should have done or would have done or could have done in my past, and all of the things I'm going to do or going to say or going to visit in the future that pulls us away from the present moment. So we need to, as our spiritual practice, keep coming back to this present moment, to the moment. So one of the things we can do is we can use some practical tools. We can use some practical tools, and I got these from a physician by the name of Stephen Reichshoffen. And he said this, he said, become a master of the pause. I love that. I know we talk about it as being a gap, God's area of preparation. God's area of preparation. Let there be a gap between something happening and your response to it. Let there just be a gap, He called it become a master of the pause. Whether that means saying grace before your meals or taking a few breaths before you respond to a coworker or your boss or something, to allow that pause, to allow that gap to lengthen. Because what that does is it allows you to resonate in the present moment. It allows you to be at choice for what you're going to say, what you're going to do, how you're going to respond. So just become a master of the pause. I love that. Number 2, he said, take time for yourself. And how bad are we at that? You know how you do things for other people all the time, don't we? We are wonderful volunteers, I swear. I think most of you sitting here today do something else along with attending Vision. We have volunteers in the kitchen, we have hospitality, we have ushers and greeters, we have people who make up the bulletins and work in the office and do data entry, and there's all kinds of things that you're doing. You're not only just coming here, sitting on Sunday and leaving, right? We do wonderful things, but how good are we at accepting? How good are we at putting ourselves on the list of serving ourselves, Come on, admit it. Put yourself a little higher on the priority list. He says, take time for yourself. We prioritize all of our responsibilities all the time, and it leaves very little left over, and we get the leftovers. So schedule yourself in. Schedule yourself in and take time to be in the silence. Take time for a massage. Take time for a walk at the beach. Take time for, hugging a tree. Anyway. Take time for yourself. Number 3, he said, turn off your electronic devices. I love that. It's like we're joined at the hip. I swear to God, 25 years ago, these things didn't exist, right? They were little big, gigantic bricks. They looked like this, right? But take time to shut down the electronics. Stop living a virtual life and start living an actual life. Take time to walk around outside. Take time to quiet the mind. Don't go to sleep with your cell phone right next to you. Just don't do it. Make sure that you have hours set aside that are totally electronic free so that you can experience actual life instead of virtual life. Now, I love number 4 because he says, schedule spontaneous time. Oh, I know it sounds really goofy, right? I love it. But I understand what he's saying, Remember when we were kids? Well, I don't know. I grew up on the East Coast. So those mornings when you were glued to the radio to hear if your school was going to be closed because it was a snow day, right? It was like, yay! And you celebrated. You can't go out because it's a blizzard. Can we go out sleigh riding? Oh, yes, we can. You can stay home and play, but the schools were all closed. It was fabulous. Spontaneous free time. That's what he's talking about. And sometimes you just need to schedule that. So it's not playtime for you that you're scheduling in like, oh, I'm playing tennis from this day to this day. But it's just, I'm going to just a block of time, whatever it is, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'll know it when I get there. That spontaneous, what am I going to do? I don't know. I'll find out when it pops up. But to schedule that block of time, that free time, that there's nothing else to do there, but do whatever it is that your heart's calling you to do in that moment. And the 5th thing he said is try yoga or try meditation. Now, I know we're big meditators here. Who meditates? Yay, look at this. This is wonderful. Try yoga, try meditation. Find the balance between our frenetic lives and that peaceful, still place that's within you. It's there, just like all the other qualities of God. That peace, that still place exists within you. Get in touch with that. Reintroduce yourself to that. That place of stillness, that place of deep peace, that place that keeps us anchored to the still small voice within us. The only way you're going to hear that still small voice is if you've given it an opportunity, if you've given it space and you've given it quiet to speak. Because you can't recognize the voice if you've never heard it. And you can't hear it if you've never given yourself time and space to be quiet enough to hear it when it speaks. So that's so important. So if you are meditating, yay, meditate more. I remember, wasn't it Mother Teresa who said she had so much busy work she had to do today? Her day was so full that she had to meditate twice as long. I love it. You know, if we have a full day, if we are heavy scheduled, then take the time out to meditate before you walk off into your day. So there you have it. 5 practical spiritual tools that really enable us to get in touch with the now. They really enable us to widen that gap, widen that gap that he was talking about. So we can immerse ourselves in the present moment, to be here now. That's where all of our power is. It is where all of our power to pray, all of our power to change the conditions of our lives. It is where we can be fully immersed in our life. Because if you're not living it, if you're busy in the past and the future, if you're letting that automatic voice run, in your head run your life and you're not there, who's running your life? Who's running your life if you're not running it? If you're so busy in your mind, in the past and the future, what's running your life is just group consciousness. Just that group consciousness, that ain't it awful mentality, that you hear around the water cooler. If you're not present living your life, then that's running your life, that group consciousness. And it may not always be in your best interest. The group consciousness is the voice of the world that says, oh my God, the sky is falling, and ain't it awful, and prices are going up, and there's no jobs, and it's flu season, and when you get into a car accident, and all that stuff, that's all the voice of the world, and that's what will be running your life if you're not. So take time, use those spiritual tools. Be here now. Be here now. If you surrender completely to the moments as they pass, you live more richly those moments. Be present. There's really nothing else for you to do but be present. Everything will still get done by you. I think we have a fear that if we're present at this moment, we're missing out on something over there. You're not. What's going on over there? The same thing that's going on over here. Life. It's life. Ernest Holmes said this in New Design for Living: there will never be more God, abundance, health, or happiness than is available to us today. And the only time we can experience what we may desire is today. We can't do it yesterday. Tomorrow hasn't arrived. We have to encompass right now in our thought all the good we can ever hope to experience. For out of that thought comes the joy of our life today and the pattern for our experience tomorrow. But the present moment can never provide us with more joy than we are able to embody. So be here now. Be here now. All of the joy, all of the happiness, all of the wisdom, all of the peace is available to us now, right here, in this present moment. Thank you.